You have been through a lot, but you have the strength to persevere. On today's episode of Oblyron Divination. Greetings everyone, I'm Oblyron, the Lord of Love and the Magister of the Cube. Thank you for joining me on today's Elemental Synastry reading. It's a technique I devised which uses the Tarot, Astrology, and the 5 elements. So this is a reading which transcends space and time, and if you resonate with this, let me know in the comment section below. Alright, so we start off with the spirit, which is represented by the bell, and I draw a tarot card to see what is influencing that particular element. So what is influencing spirit? Alright, the Ace of Swords. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that we are looking towards a particular, let's see, sense of power or a sort of strength that we have gained through from our trials and tribulations. And this is what is influencing the ether right now. A lot of us are going through a lot of trials and tribulations, and that is also resonating in the spirit realm as well. So let's see what the astrology die have to say about that. So the astrology die represent pretty much either the outcome or the advice for this particular influence. And what we have is Mars in Sagittarius in the 12th house. Okay, so let's line this up really quick. So I roll once for the house, and then I roll a second time for the decan. 5. All right. So we are in the middle decan of Sagittarius, which is the Lord of Great Strength. Okay, so the Lord of Great Strength is basically saying that it's kind of a card of when we've been through our battles, which is really interesting because we have the Ace of Swords, which is again about an adversarial time that we've been experiencing. So this is saying, okay, you've earned your ability to rest. You've had your victory, and now it's time to recollect, and it's time to muster our strength and to gather what we've learned and where to go from here. And so it's interesting that Mars is there too, because it references us as individuals as well. So on the individual level, again, we have had a great influence, a great trial that we've undergone. With it being in the 12th house, it is also suggesting that it's coming to an end. So we are looking at whatever our past problems were, those are about to come to an end, because we have learned from that, we have gathered the strength, and we're moving on from that. Okay, so let's move right along to the element of fire. Now, our fire is represented by the wands, and it represents our drives and ambitions. So let's see what is influencing the element of fire. Okay. Strength. All right. So we have a lot of fire energy in this reading, also from Sagittarius, from Mars, and also from the Strength card coming in. All right. So with the Strength card influencing the element of fire, it's saying that from these trials and tribulations that we've had, we have learned to gather our strength, and we have learned to really refocus ourselves, and we have a new reservoir of strength that we can draw upon from that we didn't have before. And so, yeah, this is a very victorious reading. All right, strength also is, in astrological terms, is represented by Leo, and so it's really about being, taking charge of your ambitions, taking control of your life. And so, yeah, a lot of that was was the lessons that we've learned from the Spirit and how they're coming to an end. So let's see, what do the astrology die have to say about that? Okay, we have Jupiter in Sagittarius in the 10th house. Okay, let's line this up. And let's re-roll for the decan. All right, 7. Okay. So we have another middle decan of Sagittarius, and that is again the Lord of Great Strength popping up again. So we have strength in the spirit, and we have a huge dose of strength in the fire, and with it being Jupiter influencing this particular outcome, that has to deal with our expansion and how we choose to expand upon that strength. Now, we have it in the 10th house, which is Capricorn, and so what I'm seeing is, we need to really look towards, let's say, our careers and status to expand upon this new strength. And it could also be suggesting that, we're going to have an opportunity in our line of employment, in, maybe you've discovered something at work which gives you a sort of second win and a newfound drive to be able to do your job. It could also be maybe having the strength to leave a previous employment situation and maybe look for new work elsewhere. Because again, with Jupiter being an expansive influence, it could be that we have to expand elsewhere. It could also be probably starting a side hustle as well. But whatever it is, there is a lot of things that we've learned and a lot of lessons that we've learned between these two elements that is giving us this strength. And again, with this being in Pisces, we're also looking towards an ending of an old chapter as well. Okay, let's move right along. So now we move to the element of air, which is represented by the swords. And let's see what's influencing air. Okay. All right, so the inverted emperor. Okay. Now it's interesting because, we have, in astrological terms, the emperor represents Mars, and we also have Mars coming up right here as well. So I would say, with the emperor being inverted, it's usually, let's say, delayed progress. There's something that we need to manifest that hasn't quite manifested, or maybe things didn't manifest in the way that we needed. And with this influencing air, it could also mean that somewhere in our communication or our intellectual pursuits, perhaps we've experienced a blockage or delay. Now, let's see what the astrology die have to recommend for that. Okay, we have Mercury in Capricorn in the 6th house. Okay, so Mercury in Capricorn in the 6th house. All right, and let's re-roll for the decan. 2. All right, so what we're looking at is, yes, okay, so with the element of air influencing both our intellectual pursuits and our communication, and with also Mercury popping up right here, it would suggest that it would lean more towards the communicative side. Mercury is the planet of communication, and so yes, perhaps our delayed success and perhaps our delayed progress towards whatever we're going through in trying to manifest this over here is related to our communication. Perhaps we have to communicate a little bit better. Now, it's also in the first decan of Capricorn, which is the Lord of Harmonious Change, okay? And essentially what that represents is us trying to balance. It's sort of like a balancing act. It's the 2 of Pentacles, and it's basically saying, okay, we need to balance, let's say, our personal life or our finances, or maybe sometimes we could feel overwhelmed by our finances because, that there is no balance to how either we're spending our money or whatnot. But it would suggest that, yes, we do need to go back and we do need to sort of maintain this balance in our status and in our careers. So perhaps maybe we're a bit too, maybe we're a bit too out of control. We're a bit too showy with it coming up in the 6th house. The 6th house. That's Virgo, not Leo. So perhaps we are experiencing something out of balance with our health. Virgo is representative of health, and Virgo is also representative of, how we choose to pursue, let's say, our studies and our own pursuits. Virgo is the hermit. It is a card of perfection. So perhaps we're trying to be too much of a perfectionist, and that's causing a lot of this imbalance and a lot of this communication, errors and whatnot. And so I would say, definitely be mindful of how we are communicating. Be mindful of how we are devoting our time and spending that. What's interesting also is that, let's see. Yeah, Mercury can influence both Gemini and Virgo, and here we have the element of air, and of course Gemini is an air sign, so a lot of mercurial energy happening here. And again, with this being in Virgo, and also with it being in the 2nd decan of Capricorn, we should really be looking towards grounding ourselves through the element of earth to be able to move on from this delayed progress. Okay, moving right along, we have Pentacles, which represents the element of earth. And let's see, what is influencing the element of earth? Okay. That one wanted to come out. All right, the King of Pentacles. So an inverted King of Pentacles. Excuse me. All right, let's put this over here. Okay, so again, just as with the Emperor, we're kind of seeing, let's say, the darker side of how we manage our wealth. Perhaps we are in frivolous spending. Perhaps, we need to go back and sort of reanalyze how we are approaching our material gains, and how we are approaching, let's say, our situation. All right. Now, Earth can also represent the body, and also we have Virgo popping up here, which, Virgo can also represent health in the body as well. So, yeah, definitely a lot of things happening within us. Let's see what... Okay. So we have Neptune in Leo in the 9th house. All right. Okay, 9th house. So that is Sagittarius. That has to deal with our knowledge, our spiritual pursuits, higher learning, and it can also be travel too. All right, let's re-roll for the decan. 5. So we are in the middle decan of Leo, which is the Lord of Victory. Okay, again, a lot of fire energy here, and let's see. Oh, do we have? Let's. Okay, we also have an opposition forming here too as well. Let's see. Okay, so actually, let's go back to this first, and then I'll get back to the opposition. All right, so we have Neptune in being influenced by the Lord of Victory. So it would suggest that we need to take, let's say, we need to step back a little bit in order to sort of see the bigger picture. The Lord of Victory is a very positive decan of Leo, because it means that the likelihood of victory is imminent. And with it, again, with it being in Sagittarius and also with Neptune's influence, it's saying to, let's say, take a deeper spiritual perspective on what are the reasons why perhaps our finances may be out of control, or maybe also look at the reasons why we are not treating our health as we should be. Again, look to those higher reasons. Look to the knowledge, to the education. Educate ourselves on what we need, on how we could be better to ourselves on the physical plane. Okay, and that will help to get things back in order as well. All right, so going back to this opposition. All right, we have both the spirit and air in opposition to one another. Now, oppositions aren't necessarily a bad thing. It could also mean that opposites attract. And that's kind of what I'm getting here, is we need to look very carefully towards what has been bothering us in the spirit, what has been the trials that we've been going through in the spirit, and understand how that is connected to our delayed progress in what we're trying to achieve. And so again, with the first decan of Capricorn, we're looking at a balance. With Virgo, we're also looking at perfectionism. And over here, again, we are also looking at the Lord of great strength. So there's a lot of strength, there's a lot of balance that needs to be addressed. And again, combining what we've learned from the spirit as well as understanding what's been our delayed reaction in our goals will help us to kind of untangle a lot of what's been happening. All right, moving right along, we have Cups, which represents the water, or the element of water, and Cups can represent our emotions, it can represent our intuition, it can also represent the ancestors as well. So let's see, what is influencing Cups? All right. All right, the Five of Swords. Let me put that over there. So the Five of Swords is the Lord of Strife, and essentially it's about a competition or a conflict that's happening. It can also, it can be within ourselves, and it can also be with our peers and with other people. So our emotional state is in a bit of a conflict. It's in a bit of let's say, trying to resolve something. And it would make sense because, over here we have a lot of energy that said, hey, we've been through some hard times. Over here it's saying, we haven't seen the results that we've wanted. And over here we're saying, all right, our finances or maybe our health could also be out of whack as well. So let's see what the astrology die have to say for that. Okay, we have Mars again in Sagittarius, a lot of Sagittarius energy in the first house. All right. Okay, let's re-roll for the decan. 1, all right. A lot of Mars, a lot of Sagittarius. Okay, let's line some of this up a little bit. Okay, so here we're looking towards maintaining, a lot of Mars, a lot of Aries as well, because the first house is also represented by Aries, which is also Mars. And with it being the first decan of Sagittarius, we have the Lord of Quickness. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a situation which needs to be resolved through quickness, through haste. Something which needs to come to a close, and we don't want it lingering. So whatever loose ends you have on an emotional level, those need to be tied up. And it has to deal mostly with the self. Remember, I said the Five of Swords could be conflict with others, or it could be conflict with the self. But here it's suggesting, especially with all the Aries and with the Mars, is that it deals more with the self. So our emotional state is largely dependent on how we feel about ourselves, really. And again, if there's any sort of doubts that you have about yourself, anything that you need to tie up, again, with those loose ends, tie them up and resolve them. Look towards your intellectual pursuits and your communication, and ask yourself, why are you being delayed here? Because I get a strong sense that both of these are kind of tied in together. This is really close to the opposition as well. And so a lot of this stuff is really, it's all connected. And again, here we have the Pentacles also kind of saying, well, because our emotional state is sort of in chaos, because we're not seeing the results that we want to see, and because we are also seeing that maybe our finances aren't what they are, or aren't what we want them to be anyways, that we are kind of in this emotional conflict. But again, look at the positives of what's happening here. As far as fire goes, as far as our ambitions and our drive, especially related to our careers, we have a lot of strength. And again, with Jupiter there being expansive, it's saying, hey, look towards your ambitions first. And that'll help to sort of realign all of these other three elements which may be in more conflict. And again, this whole reading relates back to the spirit, so it's very understanding, or it's understandable that so many of the elements would be in conflict, especially when in the spirit we've experienced a lot of conflict as well. We've experienced a lot of adversarial energies happening. And again, a lot of fire energy has been popping up with all the Sagittarius readings, and a lot of Mars energy has been popping up. So again, it's looking towards our spiritual pursuits. It's looking towards our higher education. Maybe we need to travel for a little bit. Maybe we need to get out of the situation that we're in so we can get a fresh perspective. It could also suggest that. But either way, a lot of this strife, between these two cards, a lot of that's going to be coming to an end. Spirit is saying, okay, you've learned your lessons. Now it's time to pick up the pieces and to reorganize between these three elements and really look and face those problems head on. You have the strength to do it, so just do it. And again, with Mars popping up a lot, it's also saying that, trust yourself. Trust what you have to offer, and really look towards what you value, and really stand by yourself, believe in yourself, because you can get through this. You have the strength to get through this. So if you keep on going and if you keep on persevering, you'll be cool. You'll be fine. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. No, we do not have that. That almost squares, but not quite. Okay. So we have a square between the element of earth and the element of spirit, which would suggest, all right. Okay. Yeah, okay. So here we have Mars, which is saying to trust yourself. You've been through a lot, keep on going. And here you have Neptune saying, well, take a bit of a distance, take a bit of some time off and try and view it from a higher perspective. And it's between this square that we have these conflicting energies. On one hand, it's saying, okay, this is coming to an end, let's take some action. you've had you've been through some stuff, and over here it's saying, okay, kind of take a moment to reflect. What we do have is with the Lord of great strength, it is in a bit of a restful state, so we do have that working for us. And with the Lord of victory over here, we do have some positives from that. But whatever's happening, let's say perhaps, okay, so between these two, I would say it is the conflicts that we've been through which has caused us to become out of balance with on the material plane, either with our money or with our health. So that has to be addressed and corrected so we can overcome this square. All right, let's see if we have anything else. Let's see. No. Oh. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. 36. Actually, yeah, we do have another square right here too. Okay, so between, yeah, it would actually make sense. Both of these are inverted, and again, one is pushing for communication, one is pushing for wanting to see results in the material world, and another one, again, this is pushing for being able to take a step back and to sort of reprioritize our priorities. So yeah, a lot of things are squaring this earth energy right now. Both are the element of air and the element of spirit. And so we really need to, I would say, start with, they kind of, it's all connected. So I would say to really look at what is out of balance in the element of earth, we need to look at both these together. And again, these are in opposition. So it's saying, okay, in this particular reading, opposites sort of attract, and it looks like, yeah, it kind of puts like a double whammy on the element of earth. So the whole reading eventually goes back to the spirit. Spirit leads the way. And again, the reason why we're experiencing so much conflict and strife is because of what we've been through with the element of spirit. So I would say really focus on the element of earth, really focus on health and finances. And again, it's sort of reiterated with the Emperor being in this house, being influenced by Virgo as well. Really focus on that, but also knowing from a larger stance that, this conflict and this strife is going to come to an end because we do have the strength to persevere. All right. Okay, so I think that's about it for today. If you've resonated with this reading, please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, and thank you for joining me. And I love you all. I hope to see you again next week. Thanks.